Have you ever set a massive, life-changing goal filled with that powerful burst of initial inspiration? You decide, this is it. This is the year I get in the best shape of my life. Launch that business, master that new skill. You draw up grand plans, fueled by a vision of a new you. But then, a few weeks later, the fire quietly fizzles out. You miss one day, then two. And before you know it, you are right back at square one, looking at your ambition from a distance, feeling completely defeated. You look at the world's most successful people, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the athletes, and you ask, what is their secret? Do they just have more willpower, more talent, more time? We assume they possess some superhuman advantage that we simply lack. But what if their greatest advantage is a secret so simple, so quiet, so counterintuitive that most of us dismiss it entirely? What if the key to massive, long-term success isn't found in heroic transformations, but in a tiny, almost invisible edge? Today, we deconstruct the 1% rule by Tommy Baker. I promise you, this single idea holds the key to unlocking consistent, unstoppable, and inevitable success in your life. Stay with me, because what you are about to learn will change how you view progress forever. Section 2. The Two Paths, a world of contrast to understand the profound power we're about to uncover. You must first recognize the two fundamental paths that lie before you on any journey of change. These aren't just methods. They are entire life philosophies. On one side, we have the all-or-nothing sprinter. This is the path of intense, heroic effort. The sprinter waits for a fever pitch of motivation, then goes all in, attempting to overhaul their entire existence overnight. They commit to drastic diets, grueling 2-hour workouts, and radical new routines. For a week, maybe two, their progress looks miraculous. But this white-hot intensity is built on a foundation of willpower that is destined to crack. The crash is inevitable. It comes in the form of burnout, exhaustion, and overwhelming guilt, sending them right back to where they started, trapped in a painful cycle of restarting. On the other side, we have the 1% compounding investor. This path is quiet, patient, and almost invisible to the outside world. Their actions seem insignificant. A 10-minute walk, not a marathon. One page of a book, not a chapter. A single healthier meal choice, not a perfect diet. From the outside, it looks like they are barely trying. But what the sprinter fails to see is the silent, unbreakable power of consistency. They don't see the tiny gains compounding day after day, week after week, slowly building a momentum that becomes an unstoppable force over time. The sprinter chases a flash of lightning, hoping to catch it in a bottle. The investor, on the other hand, becomes the rising tide, lifting everything in their life slowly but surely. These two paths represent two completely different destinies. One is a life of dramatic starts and predictable failures. The other is a life of quiet beginnings and inevitable success. The question we must all face is, which path have we been on until now? Section 3. The foundational secret, the mindset shift. So, what is the fundamental secret that separates the quiet success of the 1% investor from the predictable failure of the all-or-nothing sprinter? It's a profound shift in perspective, a foundational truth that changes everything once you truly understand it. The secret is this: success is not a single dramatic event. It is a trajectory shaped by the accumulation of tiny, almost invisible gains. We live in a culture that worships the breakthrough moment, the overnight success story, the viral hit, the lottery win. We are conditioned to look for the one giant leap that will transport us from where we are to where we want to be. But this is a dangerous illusion. The 1% rule teaches us that real, lasting transformation is never a product of intensity, but of consistency. It's about understanding the most powerful force in the universe, as Einstein called it, compounding. We all understand how it works with money, but we fail to apply it to the most important asset we have, ourselves. The math is simple but staggering. If you get just 1% better each day for a year, you'll end up nearly 38 times better than when you started. Conversely, if you get 1% worse, you decline almost to zero. The daily changes are imperceptible. After a week, you can barely see a difference. After a month, the change is still small. This is why most people give up. They don't see the immediate, dramatic results they crave, but they fail to realize that the real power of compounding is backloaded. The most significant growth happens over time, built upon the unshakable foundation of every small effort that came before. It works because our brains and our lives are designed to adapt to small, consistent signals far more effectively than they adapt to massive, sudden shocks. To make this crystal clear, imagine two architects, both tasked with constructing a magnificent building. The first architect, a classic sprinter, believes that creation requires a grand stroke of genius. He waits for the perfect moment of inspiration, that one flawless design idea that will solve everything at once. He spends his days brainstorming, sketching, and then discarding his work, feeling that none of it is good enough. He is waiting for the breakthrough, the single event that will define his project. Months pass, and his plot of land remains empty, a testament to his quest for perfection. The second architect, an investor in effort, understands the 1% rule. She knows that a great building is not designed in a flash of genius. It is built one brick at a time. Her goal each day is not to build the entire structure, but simply to lay one single brick perfectly. It's a tiny, almost laughable goal. On the first day, she lays one brick. On the second day, another. To an outsider, her progress is painfully slow, almost non-existent. There are days she feels doubt, wondering if her small efforts will ever amount to anything. But she ignores the doubt and focuses only on her one daily task, laying the next brick as perfectly as she can. She trusts the process. She trusts the power of compounding. Years go by. The first architect is still waiting, frustrated, his grand vision still trapped in his mind. The second architect, however, is now standing before her completed masterpiece. It is a stunning, formidable structure, admired by all for its strength and beauty. It did not appear overnight. It was not the result of one single event. It was the inevitable outcome of thousands of small, consistent, perfectly executed actions. Every single brick, laid with care day after day, contributed to the final, unshakable result. That building is your life. It's your health, your career, your skills, your relationships. Every positive action you take, every short workout, every healthy meal, every page you read, every kind word you speak is another brick being laid in the foundation of your future self. The question this secret forces us to ask is, have you been waiting for the inspiration to design a skyscraper, or have you been quietly laying your bricks day after day? Section 4. The Actionable Blueprint, the Daily Practice. Understanding the power of compounding is the first step, but it is only half the battle. The mindset shift gives us the patience to see the journey through, but we still need a practical, actionable tool to use every single day. This brings us to the second foundational secret, the one that transforms this philosophy from a nice idea into a real-world system for achievement. The secret is this: you must make progress so easy that it becomes impossible to fail. This principle is the ultimate antidote to the most unreliable human emotion, motivation. We wait for motivation to strike before we act, but the 1% rule teaches used to act first and let motivation meet us along the way. The way we do this is by implementing a simple 3-step blueprint that removes friction and makes starting the most natural thing in the world. The first step is to isolate your keystone. When we get inspired, our instinct is to try and change everything at once. We want to fix our health, our finances, and our career all in the same week. This is a recipe for disaster. It divides our precious energy and willpower until it's spread so thin that nothing gets accomplished. The 1% approach is strategic. You must choose only one keystone area to focus on initially. This isn't a sign of low ambition. It's a sign of profound wisdom. A keystone habit is a single small change that creates a positive ripple effect across your entire life. For some, it might be a 5-minute morning meditation that brings clarity to the rest of their day. For others, it might be preparing a healthy lunch, an action that influences their energy levels and afternoon productivity. By focusing all your energy on embedding one single keystone habit, you build the momentum needed to tackle the next one. The second step is the heart of the daily practice. You must shrink the action to absurdity. The primary reason we procrastinate is that our brain perceives the task ahead as large, difficult, and intimidating. The secret is to bypass this resistance entirely by making the initial action so small, so ridiculously easy, that your brain doesn't even have a chance to object. Let's be clear about what this looks like. If your goal is to write a book, your 1% action is not to write a chapter or even a page. It is to open your laptop and write one single sentence. If your goal is to get fit, your 1% action is not to run 5 miles. It is to put on your running shoes and walk out your front door. If your goal is to become a reader, your 1% action is not to read for an hour. It is to open the book and read 1 paragraph. This isn't the entire task. It is simply the frictionless entry point that gets you started. More often than not, writing 1 sentence turns into a paragraph, and putting on your shoes turns into a 20-minute walk. You make it impossible not to start. The third and final step is your safety net, the rule that allows for human imperfection. You must never miss twice. The all-or-nothing sprinter believes in perfect, unbroken streaks. The moment they miss one day at the gym, their perfect record is shattered, and they see it as a total failure, which often leads to them quitting entirely. The 1% investor knows that life gets in the way. You will have days where you are sick, tired, or overwhelmed. Missing one day is an anomaly. It's just part of life. Missing 2 days in a row, however, is the beginning of a new negative habit. This rule gives you permission to be human while demanding that you get back on track immediately. It transforms a moment of failure into an opportunity to prove your commitment. Consider the contrast. Person A has a goal to work out for an hour. On a day they feel tired, that goal feels like an insurmountable mountain. So, they do nothing, and their brain registers the day as a failure. Person B has a goal to do 1 push-up. Even on their most exhausted day, they can summon the energy for 1 push-up. Their brain registers the day as a success. They have maintained their momentum. And often, that 1 push-up turns into 5 or 10, because starting was the only hard part. Person A faces constant resistance and feels guilt. Person B builds constant momentum and feels successful. How many times has the sheer size of your goal prevented you from even starting? What if the key wasn't to find more motivation, but to require less of it? Section 5. The deeper truth, the unspoken philosophy. If you have embraced the mindset of compounding and mastered the art of the tiny daily practice, you possess the tools for change. But what is it that makes someone stick with the 1% rule for years, not just weeks? What is the invisible force that carries you through the days when you feel uninspired, bored, or doubtful? It isn't willpower. It is something far more powerful. A deeper truth that serves as the engine for all lasting transformation. This is the third and final secret. Your identity, not your goals, drives your long-term actions. This may be the most important concept we discuss today. We are a society obsessed with goals. We set targets for our weight, our income, our career promotions. But a goal-based approach has a fundamental flaw. It is predicated on a future outcome. You are constantly striving towards something you currently lack, which can create a subtle, underlying feeling of insufficiency. The actions you take feel like a struggle, a sacrifice you must make to achieve a distant reward. Once the goal is reached, what happens next? Often, the motivation vanishes and old habits creep back in. Now, contrast this with an identity-based approach. This isn't about what you want to achieve. It's about who you want to become. A goal is, I want to lose 20 pounds. An identity is, I am a healthy and active person. Do you feel the shift? A healthy person doesn't need to force themselves to make healthy choices. It's simply an expression of who they are. Their actions flow naturally from their sense of self. A goal is, I want to write a book. An identity is, I am a writer. A writer writes. They don't need to summon a heroic amount of willpower to sit down at the keyboard. It's their default state. The struggle disappears when your habits are. Simply an extension of your identity. So how do we build this new identity? We can't just decide to be a new person overnight. This is where the true genius of the 1% rule reveals itself. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Think of it this way. When you complete your 1 push-up daily habit, you are not just exercising. You are casting a vote for the identity of I am someone who is physically fit. When you open your laptop and write just 1 sentence, you are casting a vote for I am a writer. When you read 1 page of a book before bed, you are casting a vote for I am a reader. Each tiny, seemingly insignificant action is a piece of evidence that proves your new identity to yourself. In the beginning, these votes are small. You may have decades of evidence suggesting you are not that person, but you don't need a landslide victory on day 1. You just need to start stacking the ballot box in your favor, 1 small vote at a time. The beauty of this process is that it is painless and gradual. You aren't fighting your old identity. You are simply building a new one alongside it, until eventually the new identity has more evidence, more votes, and becomes your default truth. Consider the story of a woman named Sarah who had tried and failed every diet imaginable. Her goal was always to lose 30 pounds. Her life was a cycle of restriction and failure. One day, she abandoned that goal. Instead, she asked herself, what would a truly healthy person do? She decided a healthy person probably takes the stairs. So, her first 1% action was to take the stairs instead of the elevator at work, just once a day. It wasn't a diet rule. It was just a vote for her new identity. Then she added another vote, drinking a glass of water before her morning coffee. Over months, these tiny votes accumulated. She started walking during her lunch break. She began adding a small salad to her dinner. None of these were painful sacrifices. They were just things a healthy person would naturally do. A year later, she had lost the weight, but more importantly, she no longer thought about it. She wasn't on a diet. She was a healthy person. The 1% rule hadn't just helped her achieve a goal. It had allowed her to methodically and peacefully build the identity she had always desired. Section 6. Connecting the dots. From theory to reality. So how do these 3 secrets fit together? It is crucial to understand that these are not separate, isolated tips you can pick and choose from. They are 3 gears in a single, powerful engine for personal transformation, and each one is essential for the others to function. Think of it this way. The first secret, the foundational mindset shift, is the fuel for your journey. Understanding the power of compounding is what gives you the long-term vision and the patience to trust the process. even when your daily results seem insignificant. Without this deep-seated belief, the tiny 1% actions would feel pointless, and you would quickly abandon them for a more exciting short-term strategy. The mindset gives the small actions their profound meaning. But that belief is powerless without the second secret, the actionable blueprint, the daily practice of the impossible. To fail 1% action is the engine itself. It's the physical mechanism that translates your belief into reality. It's how you show up every day and lay another brick, cast another vote. Without this daily action, your desire to change your identity remains a frustrating daydream. Finally, this consistent daily practice naturally leads to the third secret, the deeper philosophy. Each action you take reinforces your desired identity. You are no longer just doing things. You are becoming someone. This new identity then provides the effortless, intrinsic motivation to continue the daily practice, creating a powerful, self-reinforcing loop. It's a seamless journey from believing to doing to finally becoming. Section 7. The clear summary. Your 3 takeaways. We have explored a deep and transformative philosophy, moving from mindset to practice to identity. But to ensure this knowledge sticks and becomes a part of your daily operating system, let's distill it down into 3 core actionable takeaways. These are the rules that form the foundation of the 1% lifestyle. First, embrace the power of compounding. You must fundamentally reject the cultural obsession with overnight success and giant leaps. True, lasting change is never a product of one heroic moment. It is the inevitable result of small, consistent efforts multiplying over time. Stop looking for the lottery ticket and start appreciating the immense power of a tiny daily investment in yourself. Your future success is being built by the nearly invisible actions you take today, so learn to trust in the power of the process. Even when the immediate results are nowhere to be seen. Second, master the impossible to fail action. The greatest enemy of progress is not a lack of motivation, but the size of the initial step. To overcome the brain's natural resistance to effort, you must shrink your daily habit until it becomes so ridiculously easy that you cannot say no. Your goal is not to run a marathon. It is to put on your running shoes. Your goal is not to write a book. It is to write 1 sentence. This principle removes friction, kills procrastination, and makes starting effortless, allowing you to build the priceless asset of momentum. Third, build your identity, 1 vote at a time. Stop focusing solely on what you want to achieve and start focusing on who you want to become. Every action you take is a vote cast for a specific identity. A 10-minute workout is a vote for I am a fit person. Reading 1 page is a vote for I am a reader. The 1% rule is not just a tool for hitting goals. It is a system for methodically building the identity of the person you aspire to become, 1 small, undeniable piece of evidence at a time. Section 8. The final word, a challenge, not just a conclusion. And so, we arrive at the end of our discussion, but at the beginning of a new choice. We stand at a crossroads, looking down the 2 paths we described at the start of our journey together. To one side is the path of the all-or-nothing sprinter. It is a road littered with broken resolutions, fueled by frantic bursts of energy that inevitably lead to burnout. It is a path many of us have walked, a cycle of grand ambition followed by quiet disappointment. To the other side is the path of the 1% compounding investor. It is a quieter, less dramatic road. It is a path of patience, of consistency, of unshakable faith in the power of small, deliberate actions. It does not promise overnight miracles, but it guarantees an unstoppable momentum. For years, you may have been running in circles on that first path, wondering why your effort wasn't translating into progress. Today, that changes, because now you know the secret. You understand that the choice between these 2 destinies is not made once in a moment of great inspiration. but is made every single day in the smallest of moments. This is not just information. This is an invitation. An invitation to step off the hamster wheel of failed goals and onto the steady, upward path of becoming. So here is my challenge to you. The journey to becoming the person you admire, the person you know you are capable of being, does not start tomorrow or next week or on New Year's Day. It starts right now, in the moment after this video ends. Your greatness is not defined by some massive, heroic action you will take in the future. It is defined by the very next tiny, almost insignificant action you take today. So, I want you to make a commitment, not to me, but to yourself. In the comments below, I want you to declare your first 1%. What is the one tiny, ridiculously easy action you will take today to cast the first vote for your new identity? Will you read one page of a book? Will you do one push-up? Will you write one sentence? Make it public. Declare your intention and begin the process of building evidence for your new self. There is a powerful quote that says, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." The 1% rule teaches us that the real secret is simply to never stop taking that next step, no matter how small. If you are ready to walk this path, to build your future one brick at a time, then subscribe and join our community. Let's grow together.